many times people get very excited. I can remember in the late 60s, if it had computer in the name, the stock went through the roof, even if it was a laundry. Didn't matter what it was. I mean, we've all seen this before. We've seen it in Japan. We've seen it in America in the late 90s. This has happened before, and it's happening again. Whatever the hot technology is of the day, those stocks, for whatever reason, get very, very hot. 150 years ago, it was railroads. There was a gigantic bubbles in railroads. Railroads are still around, but you never made money in the stocks if you bought them in the bubble. You remember 1929? 1929, Radio Corporation of America, RCA, became unbelievably expensive. Well, we still have radio, like radio, merged with CBS, et cetera, it's still there, but you never made money if you bought it in the bubble. So be careful. You ask how it's going to play out. We've had bubbles before, we're going to have them again, and they always end badly. And if you buy the bubble stocks, you're probably never going to make money. You see a lot of new investors piling in, talking about how easy it is to make money, how much fun it is to make money. Gosh, I wish it were easy. SPACs, you see SPACs coming in. SPACs often come in at the end of big, long bull markets. Remember the Mississippi Land Company? The South Sea Land Company, that was 300 years ago. Same thing. They invented SPACs long ago. So all this has happened before, and it is happening again. Now, your question and mine and everybody's, when is it going to end? I don't see it ending yet, but something may well happen. One thing that always happens is it just gets so expensive that it ends. Or a central bank or two starts cutting back, or war breaks out, or something happens, and various and sundry things, but I don't see any of those things happen yet. If everybody were buying stocks, when you go to the dentist, if the receptionist wants to talk to you about stocks, that's a bad sign. Those sorts of things are beginning to happen. I went to my chiropractor the other day, and the massage lady wanted to talk about stocks. I don't remember a specific trigger. I do remember that it started like August 25th, because I was having dinner with a friend of mine, who was the head of the Wall Street Journal at the time, and we were talking about it, and I was telling him, blah, 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 and lo and behold, that was the day. He still remembers. I still remember. But I don't remember anything specific happening that caused it. Just that it got too overheated. You don't have to have a specific ringing of the bell or shooting of the pistol, but it can happen that way. The head of the central bank says, his word is, we will print unlimited, that's his word, unlimited amounts of money and put it in the investment market. And he's doing it. Raul, he buys ETFs every day. Well, I own Japanese ETFs. He's got more money than I do. If he's going to buy ETFs, I am too. And the Japanese market is still down 35% from its all-time high. The US market is making all-time highs. There's a chance, I don't know, you watch Real Vision, they'll tell you, but there's a chance that the Japanese market may go back to its all-time high of over 30 years ago because of all the craziness that's going on in Japan and in the world. I do not know what the trigger will be. I can feel what's happening. I see all the signs. We've talked about some of the signs, but it's not as though there's total madness yet. As I said, there are a lot of stocks that are still down or still aren't participating. Now, in the bond market, everything is participating. Junk bonds, foreign bonds, everything. So unless you have a special situation bond, I would not own bonds anywhere in the world. I do own, full disclosure, I do own some Russian government bonds in rubles, but they're short term. They're a year or two. I will be buying agriculture. In fact, I have orders in at the moment to buy more agriculture because agriculture is still very, as I said, commodities are the only thing that I know that are still cheap. Silver's down it's down 45% from its all-time high. Sugar's down 75 or 80% from its all-time high. Some of this stuff is still very cheap. Fundamentals are improving, Russia, everybody hates Russia. I'm buying Russian stock as we speak, but I don't want to buy Apple. Now, if you know what you're doing, there are guys who are going to make a fortune in Apple this year. Not me, not on the long side, maybe the short side later this year. But no, that's not the kind of thing that I'm any good at investing in. Mainly, I'm buying the ETFs because ETFs are a miracle. For lazy people like me, they're great. But I'm sure you've seen all the studies. The studies show that if you invest in the index, you're going to outperform most investors, professional and otherwise. So for me, I'm buying the agricultural index. ETF to be exact. I have not been buying and probably will not buy. I'm waiting for the correction to work its way out. Listen, my market timing is horrible. I'm the worst market timer in the world, Rahul. So don't listen to me for short-term trading. But somewhere along the line, I hope that I'm smart enough to buy more silver and more gold, probably more silver than gold because silver is down 45%. Gold is only down 10% from its highs. So no, before this is over, Rahul, both of them are going to go through the roof because history shows that whenever people lose confidence in governments and money, all of us peasants buy gold and silver. Listen, the politicians and the academics will say, forget gold. It's a barbarous relic, or whatever the term. But Rahul, peasants like me like to have some gold in the closet. We like to have some silver under the bed. Because we also peasants know, okay, maybe it's not any good, but we want some. But I'm not buying it now. I own a lot, but I'm not buying now. We all hear about Bitcoin. We don't hear about the dozens that don't exist anymore. There's no question that money is going to be on the computer. You cannot take a taxi in China with money. You cannot buy ice cream in China with money. You got to put it on your phone. So some countries, every country is working on it, including the US. Chinese are ahead. But my view is it's going to be their money if, let's use Bitcoin, if Bitcoin ever becomes a viable currency, not a trading vehicle, but a viable currency, they're going to outlaw it. Governments don't want to lose control. They like their monopoly. And once they all have their own government money, you think they're going to say, okay, here are US dollars and they're on the computer. But if you want to use something else, you can. That's not my experience with governments at any time in history, most times in history. And I can't imagine the US government's going to let people do that. As I said, if it's just a trading vehicle, I don't see any reason that they would outlaw it unless it's money laundering or something like that. No, if people aren't trying to use it to compete with government money, why not? I know I'm not a very good trader, so I can't imagine that I would ever try to buy and sell it. But there are plenty of guys who are very good at it who are doing it. But as a store of value, conceivably, but I don't know what the value is. listen, if we have a store of value of silver, I know that silver can be used in solar panels and electric cars, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know what Bitcoin can be used as except for a trading vehicle.